Well, I have good news and bad news. Now, it depends what you want to hear first. Let's start with the good news. Michael Gove is going. Bad news, he's going out with a bang. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the show. As I said in the previous video, took a couple of days break, so some of the news updates is basically a day old, but we're going to analyze them anyway. Good news. Michael Gove is leaving Frontline politics. Now, of course, he's got his supporters, the nerdy pseudo-intellectuals who believe in Michael Gove, despite the fact that, yes, he was an effective minister in certain departments. At the same time, you don't just need to be intellectually effective, you also need to be good at politics. And this guy, as we call the kiss of death, going around causing trouble. He's leaving, yet the bad news is that he's trying to cause trouble, as he said. So he wrote an article in the Times saying that as the Truss bandwagon clatters on, this is why I'm backing Rishi Sunak. Now his excuse to back Rishi Sunak is, and I'm not even kidding here, is socialism. Socialist programs, socialist policies. I'm not just using the word randomly. He said it himself. He said, the answer to the cost of living crisis cannot be simply to reject further handouts and then just cut tax instead. You can't reject handouts. You have to go with big government. It's fascinating. You would think that, the Notting Hill set, the likes of David Cameron, George Osborne, Michael Gove, all those guys that started the 2010 coalition government and resulted in 2015 a majority. But actually, no thanks to them. It was because Nigel Farage pushed the Tory party slightly to the right to introduce the EU referendum. That's how the Tories got the majority in 2015. The funny thing is that now that it's all over, some of the stuff coming out of the Conservative Party is not even borderline socialist. It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand what's going on here. But the problem I have with this whole Michael Gove journey, you could praise him and his track record in certain areas, fine, let's be objective. But this guy is a king of betrayal. He's brilliantly good at betraying his own masters and allies and friends. Well, the first target and his first victim was Dave. Call me Dave. Was betrayed by Michael Gove in 2016 because he joined the Vote Leave campaign and David Cameron was not happy. Cameron was very confused, saying, I don't understand why Michael Gove would join Vote Leave. He should have stayed with me. I mean, Cameron's arrogance was brilliant. But at the same time, he was very confused why Michael Gove left him and his friendship with David Cameron. And then following that, Michael Gove was not quiet when he had to deal with Boris Johnson after the Vote Leave campaign and when the referendum was finished and Brexit won. It was Michael Gove that prevented Boris Johnson from becoming Prime Minister in 2016. So that didn't really go too well. He left Cameron to become best friends with Boris and then abandoned Boris. Following that, he jumped on the Theresa May bandwagon. And at the end of the day, yeah, he also abandoned that ship too. He again became a bit of an obstacle, and by pretending to be still an ally to the May government, but in reality, when the time came, he also stood for leadership. And then when he lost, it was like, oh, I always loved Boris Johnson. I'm going to back Boris Johnson forever and the team around Boris Johnson, which meant that he got close to the cabinet and he was hanging out and working closely with people like Liz Truss. Now, they always had issues anyway, but if he said that, well, Boris Johnson, I'm going to listen to him, I'm going to go with his decision making, and Boris Johnson said, well, we're going to have to back Liz Truss, basically. He didn't say directly, but Liz Truss is Boris Johnson's candidate. Yet, Michael Gove is now coming out against the Truss bandwagon. I don't understand why he's so obsessed with this sort of stuff. He spends more time playing political games rather than actually keeping his head down and sorting out the problems in this country. I don't understand what's going on, but it is, some people just attract drama anyway. And in politics, sometimes it attracts dramatic people, drama queens. Are we allowed to say that? Not sure. We're going to come back in half an hour. We're going to tell you about the the leadership hustings and debate that happened on GB News, because there's a guy on GB News and in the audience who said something absolutely brilliant. You're going to have to watch that in half an hour. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.